It's kind of ridiculous the level of play that Lamar Jackson's given us through 3 weeks. I think twice going over 100 yards rushing, 3+ touchdowns, something like that. Pretty incredible, the things he's able to do. I mean, in his entire career, high school, college, the NFL. If people are just now recognizing that, they're just really late to the game, at least 6 years late, I guess. Would it do the math for me? This is going to be a look at a cheat code play for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is, in fact, the cheat code. So the title, like many of my titles, is kind of a double entendre, has dual meaning, because the play that really befuddled the Patriots, that they really had no answer for, well, two of them, but was QB counter read, or what a lot of people call bash. And multiple teams have struggled with this concept, under Greg Roman and with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Tyler Huntley has ran this concept well, to be honest with you. When he's been in, even late last year in 2021 and then some in 2020. I think he actually ran it for a pretty big gain against the Bills in the playoff game in 2020 once Lamar got put out of the game. So we're going to look at, I think, 5 instances of QB counter read and then 1 instance of QB power. I'm going to talk about formations and some predictability issues, in my opinion, and try to convince you that there are times when you, me, anyone who really knows the Ravens can look at the formation and kind of know the play. This is a 3rd and 1. We're up 31-26 at this point, late in the game, and Lamar busts it for the touchdown, reaches out for the end, for the goal line, scores. Fantastic play, fantastic call. You can see right here it was 3rd and 1. It puts the game away 37-26, even though we missed the extra point. Other teams have been befuddled by this, the Chiefs, to be honest with you. Only going to show you 2 plays. QB counter read is a difficult play. Bash, what most people call it. My experience with the spread and run and shoot offenses predates the use of the term bash, for a long time. So I call it what it is, QB counter read. Other people want to make up a new name, that's fine. If they change the name of a Honda Accord 2 years from now, most of us are still going to refer to it as a Honda Accord when we're in our 40s and 50s. So the elements of this is the running back crossing the quarterback's face, quarterback reading the D end to the side opposite of the running back. If that D end runs upfield, then of course Lamar's not going to give the ball. He's going to keep it. If that D end were to chase down the line, which at this point teams are familiar enough with our scheme, they know not to do that when the back is opposite them. But if he did, and there have been some instances of that, then we would give it to the running back. Devonta Freeman's first carry last year against the Chiefs was a 34-yard play on QB counter read, except the back was on the opposite side. You see 2 examples here against the Chiefs with the back on the right. Lamar keeping it, damn near scoring on this play. So many teams have struggled with this. Look, the entire NFC East got lit up for touchdowns in 2020 on this concept. QB counter read for touchdowns by Lamar. Not big gains, touchdowns. I think he scored against all 4 of them. All right, getting back to the film from the Patriots game, so I was just showing you, this has been a long-standing use of the concept. That's why I keep old film to try to use. I didn't want to go back to 2020 film and show his touchdown against the Cowboys, his touchdown against the Eagles, again, among other teams. All right, QB counter read. This is 1st and 10. We keep it with the fake to Justice Hill, who ran hard in this game. And then we're going to get a nice job by Linderbaum on this backside D tackle, which I think is Guy before he got hurt. A pull and a kick by Zeitler. And then watch Moses get out of here, pull and lead. We don't get the biggest seam in the world, don't get me wrong. But Moses is getting out of here. And you'll see Daniel Falele later on. All 385 pounds of him. Get out there and lead as the pulling tackle. So again, the back is on our left. The offense is left. The defense is right. So the back threat is parallel to the line of scrimmage here. Theoretically, we should be reading that defensive end or that edge player. And Lamar keeps it because that edge player, really this is a keep it unless the D end runs right at you. And in this case, it's not a D end, it's like a nickel safety. Short gain, maybe 5 yards, but you can see the concept. We're kicking out the edge player with the pulling guard. Later on, you will see Linderbaum be the puller. And by the way, I want to just highlight one of the things about Linderbaum here. A, he stays on people. B, this is not easy to do. This is a 0 technique. That's a 4. Linderbaum is blocking all the way back on this 4 The guard is coming down on the nose tackle. Powers and Linderbaum are executing some of this stuff at a pretty high level, if you ask me. Not that Powers is getting a ton of push on that guy, don't get me wrong, and then he loses contact. Only a 5-yard gain, but we are establishing the use of this, and the Patriots could not stop it. 2nd and 14, you'll be able to see that possibly at the top of the screen. I know you guys have a frame that you're dealing with there. 2nd and 14, we're down 10-7. Back on our left again. Zeitler, Moses pulling. Now, one of the things that's unique about Lamar is he could bounce this like he did multiple times in the game. Bounce it out, and the DNs just are not athletic enough. Very rare, do you find a DN that's going to be athletic enough to take on this kick-out block and then redirect and track Lamar down, even though Wise did a great job of it later on in the game, and I will show you that play. Moses hammering that DB, Brown. Another element to this play, and you don't see him here, but typically Andrews is lined up on the side of the running back when you're going to get QB counter read. And I will talk about a little bit of formation predictability in my opinion. So you can see the kick out block by Zeitler, where the play should go. Theoretically it should go here, but when you have a running back who's, great vision, or you have a quarterback like Lamar who runs better than most running backs and has great vision and awareness, he can bounce this thing sometimes. Also, too, some people have mentioned this. Watch what happens to this guy that Andrews is locked up on. He's got him locked up, and then Moses comes in and finishes him off. 2nd and 14, 17-yard gain. Really established, if you ask me, to the Patriots that they are incapable of defending it. All right, I'm going to talk about formations here after I run this play one time. This is a different concept, even though there are a lot of similarities. By the way, this is the exact same play that Lamar scored on the Dolphins against on the 79-yard touchdown run. Duvernay in motion as a sweep threat. Davis leading as a potential blocker. Ricard and Powers are going to do a fantastic job, just like they did against the Dolphins. You can see their blocks here. They eventually get to a second-level player, and that's who Lamar cuts it up inside of. Very similar in terms of the result for how it turned out against the Dolphins. Now I want to talk about formation predictability. As we run these plays through, because the rest of these are going to be QB counter read. Okay, that's bash, what a lot of people call bash. This is QB power read. So Lamar could give the ball to Duvernay in motion, right? As opposed to QB counter read, you're getting the back cross Lamar's face in the opposite direction. Pullers here for Lamar to potentially follow, which in this case he has. He hasn't given it on QB counter read yet. So Duvernay in motion with the back leading. So a different threat in terms of who could get the ball. It's Duvernay, not the running back. But formation predictability. Against the Dolphins, Ricard was in the slot. Powers was the puller. Duvernay was the twin or number 2 receiver to the top side, ran in motion. And we had Davis in the game. If you notice on all the other QB counter plays that we ran, Davis was not the running back. Why? He's not as fast as Justice Hill. He's not as explosive, period. We're using an explosive running back on QB counter read in case the D end doesn't run upfield. We want to get somebody who can hit the edge with some force. Think of Justice Hill's run against the Dolphins that everybody focused on, that he should have, quote, he should have scored on. That was QB counter read. We had Justice Hill. So you can't be predictable with personnel. So we're going to have to run some of these concepts with different guys on the field, but it's QB power read here, so slightly different. The edge player who you can barely see, he's behind the goalpost here. He's put in a lot of conflict by Davis, expanding. A lot of 3-4 outside linebackers or 5-2 DNs are taught don't let anyone cross your face. And you can see that edge player has expanded, making this an easy keep read for Lamar. We've got a nice job by Ricard and Powers. It goes unsaid that this guy is doing a nice job and this guy because they just do on pretty much every play concept. And we get an 11-yard gain on QB power read on 2nd and 3. Late second quarter, I think, we go down and get a touchdown here. You can see the hole that's created up here. You can see the attention that Duvernay has created with an edge player, a second-level player, and then I think they were playing man, so you had a guy running with him. Very similar conceptually to how the Dolphins tried to defend it. People are going to have to stop playing man against that formation. Okay, back to QB counter read. Where's the running back? Or who is the running back? First of all, I think it's JK. He's going to cross face. That means the right guard and the right tackle are going to pull. Who's not in the slot? Ricard, right? Who is this? This is likely. Think of the play I just showed you. Now, we've got a flipped image of it. It would be Duvernay. Duvernay would be going in motion. JK would be leading, right? Lamar would be reading this edge defender. And we'd have Ricard here to run the QB power read. Hopefully that makes sense. And if I didn't explain it well, let me know in the comment section. Another one that Lamar bounces. This is a huge play. 2nd and 10. We're up 31-26. You're going to see it run back a couple of times here. But formation predictability, it is a real thing. Duvernay is down at the bottom of the screen, by the way. Here he is trying to get locked up with a DB. So when I talk about formation predictability, we're not going to run the sweep with Isaiah Likely. So we've got to run this play with Duvernay here some, and then whoever is normally here, which I think it was Andrews. I think we had Andrews here and Ricard here. Again, this is a flipped version of the previous play that I just showed you. And then the running back will be on the other side going this way horizontally, or Duvernay in motion, I should say, with the running back leading. I misspoke there. So point being, we can't be predictable formation-wise. We can't be predictable in terms of who we put where. And in my opinion, and I kind of wish sometimes that I was streaming during the games, because I literally said it to a friend of mine 3 times. We were chatting during the game. I said, this is QB power read or QB counter read. You can tell because of who is where. Again, Andrews is off screen to this side. So this is the same play where Andrews got locked up with a safety, and then Moses came in and finished him off. And I think 91 does a pretty good job here. By the way, we're pulling Linderbaum and Moses. So this is a really nice job by Kevin Zeitler on the backside to scoop what looks like this tight 3 technique. Scoop means the play is going away from you, and you've got to get a backside defender, and you got to scoop him to the backside. You can see Lamar read, take off and bounce it. Nice job by Wise and Bentley, but it just doesn't matter. Lamar is too athletic. He's too fast. Up 31-26. That was a 2nd and 10. Huge situation. This one was even bigger. 3rd and 1. Lamar's touchdown. Again, where is Andrews? On the side of the running back. Now, he's in the slot this time, so he's a little closer. Watch his technique that he does, and I'll pull this back, and I'll talk about formation predictability again. See what Andrews did? He influence blocks that edge player. So I'm talking about this guy right here. Watch what Andrews does, kind of step to him a little bit, like he's going to block him, and then swim outside to go get, I believe, this 2nd level player, this safety. I think that's 21, Brown. So he swims him, and all that does is leave that defensive end's chest available and open him up in terms of width for Powers to kick him out. Creates a huge gap here. Look at this gap. And then Falele gets through there, does a nice job on 30. Lamar finishes it off. Going to give you the end zone angle, then pull this back, talk about the formation one more time. And hopefully I can talk about it a little cleaner than the last time I did. Formation predictability is a real thing. So first time through here, watch Andrews' technique on that DN 91, who's a hell of a football player. Swims him to the outside, really opens that gap up, you can see. Falele pulls, gets up to 30. Lamar finishes it off. Pull this back one more time. So watch the job we're doing here. Moses, here, Linderbaum. This backside DN 58 is held by the sweep threat to Justice Hill. Again, we don't have Davis in the game. All right, that sweep threat holds him. Now you might say, and I understand it. Some people would say, well, if the D end is going with the running back, shouldn't this guy be folding over the top here to play the keep by the quarterback? Well, yes, we do run other plays from this formation, but I have seen Lamar do this. Keep it, and then when a linebacker like this guy flows over the top, spit back out the back door, which shouldn't work because you've got the center back blocking on this D tackle. But when you get all that, imagine the 8's not there. Imagine Bentley's not there. When you get all that space between this guy running upfield and the D tackle, you can certainly see where there would be a situation where Lamar might be able to spit back out the back door and make it work. Falele does a nice job. He doesn't blow this guy up. He kind of gets caught half step. Let me pull this back and talk about formation predictability one more time. Excuse me. All right, so if we were going to run QB power read, it is my contention that this would be who? Pat Ricard. This wouldn't be likely. This would be Duvernay, right? Duvernay would run the sweep threat. The back would lead. Theoretically, that should expand this edge player. The back would be gone out of there. Lamar would read it, probably keep it, and hit it off tackle, pretty much on the same track that he runs here. You know who defends these two concepts really well? The Buffalo Bills. I'm going to show some film this week, not on this video, because this has been a pretty long video as is, of the Bills defending QB counter read. They knew it was coming. Why? Because they understood the formation. And you may think I'm talking, crazy. I'm going to try to show it to you. In the Bills game from 2020, they had the perfect blitz call twice to stop QB counter read. And in both situations, we ran QB counter read, and they blew it up. They only could do that if they understood if they recognized the formation on the field, they understood the threat that was offered. So what that means is I think the Ravens have got to continue doing what it seems like we've been doing so far, which is be unpredictability in terms of when we're going to run and when we're going to throw. I see people put things on Twitter about throwing on rundowns. I don't know the phrase. Forgive me, it escapes me at this time. But that's what we would have to do, I think, to go against some of our tendencies that the Bills recognize and would have an automatic call-in. That's what it's called. It's called an automatic. Sometimes some people call it AFC, automatic front check, meaning we're going to change our front depending on something we see automatically to stop the threat that you are offering based out of that formation. Hopefully that makes sense. If it didn't, let me know. I'll try to explain it in a follow-up video or in the chat section as this video premieres. If you enjoy this content, first of all, I hope you did. If you think there's elements that I missed, let me know. Lamar is the cheat code. He is the cheat code primarily. But this play against this Patriots defense was absolutely unstoppable, along with a pistol option play that I will show in a separate video later. Appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. Let me know if you think I missed anything. If you would like to support me, via more than just liking the video, commenting, and subscribing, I do have a Patreon Discord available. It's $5 a month. The YouTube channel you can join as channel membership for either $5 or $2 a month, just to show support in another manner. Appreciate you guys checking the video out. Please consider sharing this one on social media if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this content.